not.
Well,
Yeah, visually you could have figured most of this out. Although it was nice to have the son. What was the son's name? Caesar's son.
Blue Eyes.
Blue Eyes. To have him identified as his son in the opening scene was nice.
That's pretty.
Otherwise, it could have just been another ape.
Again, the way he was treating him.
Yeah,
you
would have figured it out.
And then when she gives birth and they bring him up and it's like it's your new brother. Like,
it's kind of fun.
Pretty clear.
It was a.
And then he's easy to pick out of a crowd because he's got bear scars across his chest.
Yeah.
Which was definitely done for convenience in crowd shots. That was 100%. That was a plot driven.
How are we going to tell all these apes apart?
Yeah. Well, the bonobo had his ribs were coated with, I don't know if it was the hair or if it was like dust or something.
He's lighter. He's lighter. Also slightly smaller in stature because bonobos used to be known as lesser chimps. But
I think Jared's knocking on the wrong door. Hang on.
And then Ash, of course, looks like he has ash on him from the white hair. But the thing you realize fairly quickly is that it doesn't really fucking matter which one is which, except for a couple of them. There's good monkey, bad monkey, and then followers of either.
And that's pretty much true of the humans too. There's a lot of mob mentality in this movie where it's like very easy to move the entire mass of the whole population can be swayed pretty quickly.
Oh, the only people who have personality in this are Jason Clarke, Kerry Russell, the dumb guy who shoots the one at the beginning, and Dreyfus. Like, those are the only people who have personality in it. The rest of them are just completely.
Not you wouldn't add Oldman?
I said Dreyfus, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Dreyfus, yeah.
Well, those are really only all the characters.
That's it.
This movie is not about the people.
Well, you've got the other two guys who just disappear from the movie. They just vanish. Like, the family runs off together and they hide, and the other two guys are gone.
Right.
Okay, whatever.
That was, I don't want to jump ahead to the end, but I thought the end was really cool in that Jason Clarke, when he realized he literally someone turned down, he faded him out. It's like he backs up into the darkness and he's like gone.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
you know why?
Why?
That was not the original ending of the movie.
Oh, do tell.
They did not. The screening audience did not like the original ending of the movie, and so they reshot it using the director directing via Skype.
Mm-hmm.
Andy Serkis's stand-in being Jason Clarke, and then Clarke reading the lines in ADR later.
Weird.
That's how they reshot the end of the movie.
Wow.
So that's why he just kind of disappears into the darkness, because they didn't have him to shoot the rest of the movie.
Oh man. Wow. That was also, if it was accidental or not, it was actually pretty cool.
So full disclosure, I got up to the point where Caesar killed Kubo, and I still got to watch the last 20, 50,
10 minutes.
I got about 10, 15 minutes to go.
The end's just going
anyway.
No, there's very little after that.
I forgot about there's an end credits.
Probably like 3 minutes more.
Yeah, okay, I'm almost there.
Jason Clarke shows up. They have a conversation.
They do the forehead kiss.
Yeah, they said we're friends, and they fades out, and that's
which I thought was a little much. I was actually hoping we're going to kiss.
I thought they were going to kiss.
Yeah, that would have been better. And so where do we leave it with the militia are on their way, or whoever they said?
He says on their way.
You need to get out of here. You need to get out of here because the military is going to come. Okay. And he said, "I never wanted war." And then Caesar says war has already started.
Yeah.
And then
it says humans won't let it go. Rest.
Something like that, yes.
And then he's like, and you guys get the fuck out of here. We're not going anywhere. Yeah. And then he turns around and all of the apes bow to him.
Yeah. Oh, hang on, you guys. I gotta let Sheila in. She doesn't have a key.
And the next movie picks up basically right there.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought the pacing on this was.
You had to zoom in on the eyes, so I figured
the pacing's much better in this one than the first one. That's for sure. It just even though I think it was a little longer, maybe maybe the same length.
It's maybe
about the same.
I wanted to like this movie. Like the first half is kind of, it won me over,
actually even through but the third act just goes full on Hollywood garbage bullshit. And I was like, you kind of built up something okay though. Why did you make it then suddenly a fucking battle between the two head apes? And every single battle, by the way,
everything in that scene is CG. Every single thing in that scene is CG.
Wow.
And I don't care if you're a strong ape. Some of those falls, those apes aren't getting up. They're just not getting up. No one's getting up.
It was kind of superhero level combat.
He kills the one guy by just picking him up and hucking him off the side of the
inside the courthouse.
Yeah.
Well, mind you, also
but then when he attacks Koba at the end, they fall. I mean, they hit things. They're getting up. And also Caesar, I mean, let's face it. I mean, suffering from the gunshot wound, he wouldn't be full strength. He wouldn't be able to fight. I don't know. Like, it just became, I thought, oh, here's a movie that, albeit is polished in Hollywood, is actually presenting us with some, real sort of moral conundrums or dilemmas and things that can work and be, a good fabric for a story. And then they're all third act, though. Let's face it, it's America, it's Hollywood, let's fucking do this. And I was
a big old battle.
You could feel the hard hand of the executive on that thing. Say, we got to have a big set piece at the end for a big.
It was very much like a Marvel movie or something, where it's just going to be a big ass battle.
The worst thing about Marvel movies is you have like Winter Soldier is such a great movie up until they get on the fucking flying things at the end and have that big ass fight.
Yeah,
the first Wonder Woman is good too until
WandaVision.
WandaVision, absolutely.
Same thing. It's like, let's go in the sky and throw laser bolts.
I will say one thing about the big CGI fight at the end that I thought was really cool is that after they fight their way down a little bit, Koba grabs the piece of rebar and he's going to go after him with the piece of rebar, and Caesar grabs that like piece of step from the scaffolding.
Yeah.
And he's got a defensive weapon, and he's using a defensive weapon to try to disarm Koba instead of attack him with it.
Right.
And like, that's really good character work. Like I gotta give him credit for that, of like, you've made Caesar this character who is sympathetic, who you care about, who has a philosophy, and he follows through on his philosophy through the whole movie. And at the end, when he does drop him, he says, "You're not an ape. Like, you all need to look around and see what he did. He's not one of us."
Right.
Although, mind you,
of course, but all of this is so heavy-handed. I thought it could have been
it's heavy-handed as hell, but at least they did
more delicately.
I also thought that Koba actually, his hurt, the things he brought with him in there, I felt this is one of those ones where the villains has a really kind of a decent reason to be villainous.
Good backstory for sure.
His backstory comes into it, and he's like, he's a
Killmonger-esque.
Well, he's
you
feel that even though it's cheesy, but when he says, "Now you get to be in cages," then you remember when he was an experimental ape, right?
Right.
Oh, there's also that callback when he says,
"This is what humans gave us. This is what humans,
human work. Let the humans do human work." And he starts pointing to his scars. This is human work.
He's fucking scary looking behind Chris. Jesus Christ,
he is the meanest looking ape.
I know.
The best scene in this movie is when Koba pretends to be stupid.
That is funny.
That was really good. Yes.
That's really good.
I thought it was. I thought it was pedantic, to use one of Tad's earlier criticisms.
But they came back to it.
It was just.
Why do you guys hate fun?
No, because
that came back to a good drop though. They got him out of the situation, came back, did it again, and bang, that was great.
Yeah. There were so many moments. There were a lot of moments where I was like, "Oh, a better writer would have done this. A better writer." Like when Homeboy goes back for the medical supplies and the son sees him, I'm like, "How rad would it be if the son just fucking gunned him down right there?" And we all go, "Holy fucking shit!" And then the son though opens up the bag and sees, "Oh shit, it's medical supplies." And then the son somehow goes back to the house and finds his dad anyway. Like, you know what I mean? It could happen. And like, I don't know, just more interesting shit that would be. But then of course you couldn't have the standoff between them with the C4.
Yeah,
and
then
the
it's got to be.
by the way,
it's got to be Kerry Russell doing that, I guess.
But yeah, maybe. But the C4 thing, who the fuck buys that he ducks under the fucking curb.
The train track, yeah.
Yeah,
Also-
it doesn't get fucking killed there.
Also,
Come
Oh yeah,
on.
I thought everyone was dead in that particular.
Also, they turned on the electricity again. Why was the third rail not active?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might be a different circuit. Might be a different circuit. That's like when Pelham.
They
Yeah,
did.
yeah,
They
I
do
know.
specifically say they only have limited power.
Yeah.
From that, but yes, and that goes to one of my favorite stupid Hollywood tropes, which is C4 going off, and you get giant waves of flame coming out of it. It's like that's not what C4 does.
No.
We all know what
That's a
C4 does
gasoline
because
bomb.
right. We all know what C4 does because we watched The Hurt Locker.
Right.
All you see is a wave coming out that
Yeah, like-
pulverizes
it's like
everything
energy
outside.
almost.
Shockwave, yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you don't want, if you have big flames and stuff like that, that's energy that's being wasted from the explosion.
And also, that's like exactly that's why it would kill him in the tunnel in that scene because of Valkyrie.
right.
Being in
Yeah.
enclosed concrete space.
It would just
staying
it would
up-
obliterate everything in its
Anyway,
Yeah, it would have
would-
bounced off the wall and it would have smushed him against the edge of the
Exactly,
platform.
exactly.
Like,
But-
yeah.
So that was a
So
bit
it wouldn't be as effective in a airless environment like on the moon.
not really.
Right.
No. Yeah, shockwave.
it needs oxygen.
It's overpressure.
Well,
Well, it's
laugh it
pressure.
off. But I thought again, I've seen behind me that they're on a cat head on the Golden Gate Bridge, and you can see this like destroyed battleship next to Fort Point. That was-
Yeah, it's a battleship.
yeah, I love stuff like that. They had to kind of they built this visual backstory of what was
They
happening when
brought it back
civilization
from
collapsed.
Long Beach.
Right.
They had the old they had checkpoints and everything was still there, all fucked up, and you know you can see these people survived some shit.
It is really
What?
interesting.
What
That's
is it, 11 years, 10 years? And what is it? What do you say? It was 10,
It's 10 years.
10 winters.
Was
10
anyone sort of had a moral dilemma, like, or were you for the apes or for the humans?
I think the movie does.
I was for peace.
Didn't really care.
I think the
I was
movie does a
against
very
both
good
of them.
job. trying- maybe
They're
they
all
can-
primates.
a moment.
You know, call me a soft touch. I was just hoping those guys could work it out.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
rooting
however,
for
the
Caesar
knowledge
to
that there's-
keep the peace.
However, the knowledge that there's a movie called War for the Planet of the Apes
I know it kind
coming
of messed
next,
me up.
it's like,
But when
well,
it- but when it
there's
first
no
came out, I'm like,
stakes.
I hope it's gonna happen, you know. But I know.
I think it might be a hang a lantern on a moment, but I felt like this movie did a pretty good job trying to really go, here's everybody's motivation. Everybody thinks they're the good guy, and maybe on some weird level, like nobody's the bad guy here.
Well,
Yeah,
I think that's
Rationally
most.
in a moment.
The writing was good enough to we wouldn't have bad guys, except that one dude, that human guy,
The guy who snuck the gun in,
That's
and
not
yeah,
gonna- but he
Yeah.
was like,
and
but
you
even
can kind of
but he-
understand his motivations
yeah,
too.
guy,
He's
he
an
wasn't
idiot.
evil, He was just
Right.
scared. You know,
And I also
And,
love-
and honestly, a better way to do him was make his actions shitty, but him a likable character, and that would have been awesome because
like-
you would
Because he was
be
a
like,
dick.
That's
you'd
sort
be
of
like,
what Oldman is.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
you'd be like, I like this guy, but he does everything wrong and evil, and that is an interesting character because as he is here, we just go, oh, he's a shithead.
right.
Well, so, but I do like that the movie calls that out specifically because Kerry Russell's like, why the fuck are you bringing this guy back? He
Yeah.
shot one of them,
Uh-huh.
and it's like, well,
But
he's
the-
the
and
only
the
guy who
excuse
actually
is
knows how
he
this
knows
thing
how to-
fucking works.
And then he doesn't even
Right.
do it, which is a lie. That's bad script writing.
It's bad script writing, but
doesn't
at least,
even-
like giving it an answer
Oh, my
instead
drink
of
is here.
just
Yay.
the guy shows up. You know, like because my question is, why are you bringing this asshole back? You know,
Right.
Also,
like-
Gary Oldman's character is like it's weird because he was supposed to be like the head honcho.
Be right
I
back.
thought he was remarkably feckless. He didn't really have a lot to do.
I was wondering what he was doing there.
Yeah,
It was
most of the
just
time
like
he just
besides,
kind of
besides
like-
collecting a
Phoning it
paycheck,
in.
Yeah,
it's a
I
pretty
didn't-
it's a nothing character.
it is. It was
Well,
weird.
Is it a nothing character, or is it that he's just bad at his job?
well, and he
Like,
does say,
and that's people in leadership positions are a lot.
And it was a pretty small pool. They had to make somebody in charge, and they didn't
and
have that
he
many
does
people to
say
choose
to
from.
Jason Clark,
it was sort of- he
we
wasn't
built
like
this.
He
It's
wasn't like the
two
guy
of them.
who really volunteered for it. I kind of took it more like maybe he was just sort of somebody's got to do this. I guess it might as well be me. And then he was never comfortable doing it.
Well, he's
Yeah.
a cop. He's used to bossing people around.
And Jason Clark's the smart one, and so he keeps him around to
Mhm.
be like, all right, tell me what to do here because I don't
Yeah.
really know.
Yeah.
You know,
CO versus XO. The XO knows what he's doing. But yeah, there it is.
Number
I
one.
mean, compared to the typical, I think the reason I like this so much at the time, I still like it now, is that compared to your typical, what do you keep calling it, Scott, the era of IP franchise,
It's as franchise movies go.
summer blockbuster, I thought this was like the last one, more thoughtful than most.
Well,
The
this
eight-
was
The
this
eighth
was
of
an-
9 monkey
This is
movies.
14.
the first one, I mean, obviously there was a much more serious tone to everything from the like thematically, the writing, and even the cinematography and the color grading. Everything in here compared to the first one was, you know, they're trying to take it much more seriously.
Yeah.
They're trying to do something that, and that's the thing, is like they actually almost get close enough to that. I think if the screenplay was better, it would, but you know, the first one is so silly in so many different parts and different times. But I'll tell you something that I didn't feel in this one that I felt in the first one. In the first one, when they finally like start taking over the city, I guess, or they're not taking over, but they're fleeing from
they're on the rampage there. Yeah.
Right. They're on the rampage and they finally get to the bridge. And I actually felt, even though I don't really like that movie, it was kind of exciting. And I kind of had fun with that.
Yeah, me too.
This movie was never exciting, but it wasn't going.
Yeah, I didn't find it fun.
It was this. Yeah, this movie is going for something different, which I think they missed the mark. But I give them like an A for effort.
Yeah,
it's almost like you said, if it was better written, because I was just comparing it in my head to, say, The Dark Knight, where
that's a good.
I can't believe that wasn't just a good Batman movie. That was a good goddamn movie.
Yeah.
It was it's like about a guy dressing up a bat and fighting crime, but that was so goddamn good.
And it's not.
This never got there where you could like. I mean, like you said, it's not that fun to watch, Tad. But it's like if it had been a little better, you really could have taken the conflict more seriously.
Well, like I said, you could feel the hand of the studio at the end. It's like, well, we got to put this.
That third act was atrocious.
They kind of
it
like
says in my contract I get to fight
exactly. Oh, there you go. I get to fight the lion. Exactly. But
the kids in the audience are not going to get that, you guys.
But I thought I like the geography. This is kind of local, kind of a bias. I like the geography, and this was much better than the first one.
I love the San Francisco stuff.
It wasn't just dressed up. It wasn't just dressed up Vancouver.
And they nailed
it. Shot in San Francisco.
No, but they nailed the SF stuff. What's that building that's like almost limestone green? Like they nailed everything. Like I'm like, I was just there.
City Hall, that was one Market Street Plaza. It was all, you know, they did a good job. And also the signage was correct. It wasn't like fake like the last one. So I like local bias. The
signage was they did their fucking research, dude. They used Google Maps, dude, to do this.
Speaking of doing research, I don't remember who directed this.
Matt Reeves.
The camera moves are great in some of the scenes.
So speaking of Batman, there's a connection there because he did the Batman.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. There's some great camera moves, some really long takes in this thing. Like when he goes back into we were talking about that scene where he goes back into the house to get the medical supplies. But if you just like watch the moving camera in that scene, it's really good. Where he's running up and down, like the apes are coming this way, and then he's got to go that way, and then the apes are coming this way, and he's got to go that way. It's really good.
That particular scene has a really good sense of where everything is in the scene.
I think the whole movie does.
That's what's always is crucial to an action.
And I will say the color grade. I like the tones of it's a good looking movie.
It's a good looking movie.
Handsome film. It was before they started geting all dark like they do now.
No, this is dark, but in the right way.
Literally
it's
dark.
Desaturated, you know.
Yeah, there's ways of making films look like it's nighttime without actually turning off all the freaking lights. That's what I'm saying. But this does it. It was really nicely done. So, golly,
we're gonna get to a really good looking film in a little bit.
I'll tell you, casting good actors really helps, though.
Jason sells the shit out of this.
Because boy, watching some people who actually know how to fucking act as opposed to James Franco.
Yeah,
really.
I think I pointed that out, dude. James cannot do that shit, dude, that he was trying to do in the first one. Also, I would be remiss.
But not a lot of John Lithgow.
I would be remiss if I didn't bring up the fact that as someone who for part of their living transfers and converts and deals with old like digital and formats and analog formats, I hate. So this is like you, Tad, when you're like you see someone handling a gun wrong or the bullets are wrong in like every time there is a camcorder in a movie, it's first of all that camcorder that he found up in Caesar's room, it would never work.
No.
And
Yeah, how is the battery still charged?
It had a charge.
No, it was plugged in. It was plugged in.
Charger.
It was on the charger.
But
the thing is after that amount of time, with that amount of the humidity and the moisture and the different elements that it was exposed to in that room, first of all, it wouldn't work. Second of all, if it did, what they did, of course, was make the screen a little dirty. No, the tape would have so much tracking issues. It would be like dropping out. And I always like watch, like, it's so funny in every movie when you find that little thing and it plays perfectly to give you the story. I'm always like, this would never happen, dude, ever.
I buy that.
No, it'd be fun if it was like cutting out.
Yes,
if
at least do that,
there,
or put tracking lines over it so
right.
you can only make out the audio or something. Like,
if it was DV, it was a DV cam. It was big blocks.
It was DV cam. It was
yeah. You see those big blocks.
That's about circa like
and blue screens and drop out.
2000, 2008.
Jim is sitting real quietly. Jim is
the endless. See, the endless is, I call bullshit on that too, but I give the endless a pass because it is actually their hook.
All right.
All right.
Jim's been waiting patiently in the corner, like an ape on top of the Golden Gate Bridge, looking out over us. Ook ook. All right, what is it, Jim?
Yeah, that's it. He did it.
I said you're an asshole and fuck you. And
there's the clip.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, probably.
Asshole is this though.
Oh, okay. Well, hold on.
There's different ape.
It could also be this.
Well, ASL here though does not mean American Sign Language. It means ape sign language. Yeah. It's a little bit different.
Anyway, I enjoyed it. I didn't think I was going to enjoy it based on the first one.
I didn't think you would.
The first one was bad.
I mean,
pretty bad.
It went through. It kept my attention. It wasn't any great piece of art.
When I initially saw the runtime,
acting was better, I thought, and I think the big action scenes were sort of doled out properly until the end.
Yeah,
and if it's not real. I mean,
Koba, dude, the William Wallace of the ape community.
What's that?
Like Koba fucking made them win almost solely on just his like
Koba.
Follow me, watch me.
His crazy energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Koba was your typical sort of idiot savant.
All right. Well, anyway, that's okay. We're desperate.
I'm glad that I'll tell you one thing. I'm glad that when they spoke more, they didn't make it a yell the entire time. Because at first I was like, can they only yell when they?
Yeah, they can only yell no and go.
All right.
Well, you see, their vocal tracks aren't really long enough. If you want to get technical now.
Wait, Jim, I thought you were a linguist, not a biologist. Holy shit! What's going on?
Well, if it's about the vocal tracks, I know a lot.
Also, apes don't cry tears. I
was wondering about that.
I did have to Google that. There's a really good Scientific American piece from 2003, I think, that's online. Apes can cry in the terms of like they'll scrunch up their face and they'll wail and stuff like that, but humans are the only primates who expel tears when sad.
Really? Yeah. You know what? Now that Chris pulled that guy up, I want to say two things. One, the sound design in this movie is impeccable. It's really, 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 really good. But two, I think my favorite sound in this entire movie is that dude's little gurgles and breathing.
Oh, not fun. Maurice.
Maurice is cool.
I don't know how they did that, but it's guttural.
I bet you a ton of research watching orangutans. A lot of research.
But it just like it hits me in the right. I just go, oh, I love that.
Yeah. I like the fact that he was like reading a comic book with Cody Shipman.
Nice scene.
Did you recognize a comic book? It looked really familiar.
Black Hole.
Yeah, it's Black Hole.
It's Black Hole. I don't know that one very well.
It's about a sexually transmitted disease that makes teenagers into
that's actually a graphic novel.
Makes teenagers into what?
Right.
Oh.
That's kind of interesting. It's that theme's in, doesn't it?
Charles Burns.
I don't know the book. I just know that was a hardcover, so that's got to be a graphic novel, not a comic book.
Was it a hardcover?
Whoa.
That was like a giant paperback.
All right.
I mean, that's
so I started watching.
Yeah, we're going down a hole here, Jim. Go to the card.
I was even bored by my comment just now.
Hold on, I picked this fucking thing. We're gonna continue. We're gonna keep going. Sorry.
Okay. Oh wow, he's holding the thing hostage.
I will
put your fingers down.